All right. And you're ready to rock. You're live.
Good morning, everybody. It's 10:03 a.m. on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. This is a regular meeting of the Kentucky State Board of Elections. I'm Michael Adams, the Secretary of State and Chair of the Board, and I'll call this to order. I'll recognize the members who are participating as I see you in order on the big screen. Member Perry.
Sue Carol Perry, member, Shelby County.
Member Owens.
Owens, member, Kenton County.
Member Skolnick.
Corey Skolnick, member, Jefferson County.
Member Ferris.
Eric Ferris, member, Jefferson County.
Member Sears.
Dwight Sears, member, Pulaski County.
Member Brown.
John Brown, member, Jefferson County.
We have a quorum, and so we'll proceed to our business. Thank all of you for being here today. First, we need to review and approve draft minutes of our last meeting on June 8th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nice have it. Next, we need to review and accept our executive director's time as submitted on her time sheets. Do we have a motion to approve those?
No
Motion to second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nice have it. So next, we need to take up a proposed change to a county voting plan that we've approved already. This is for Carroll County. Karen, can you walk us through that real quick, please?
Yes, and as the board, and just as the secretary said, the board approved 120 county plans back in February that would be their polling locations for the primary and the general. If there were any change to be made to their plan, it comes back to the board for the board to consider and approve. Carroll County had to change their voting location site because of renovation at the state park. So they've moved it to the facility on the fairgrounds, which is about a mile, I think, away. She submitted the paperwork, a new map of the location, and I submit that for approval by the board.
Do we have any comments or questions about this minor change for Carroll County?
You haven't heard or seen any resistance of any kind, have you, Karen?
No resistance. And, it didn't reduce her polling number of locations. It was just a shift in that. And to date, I haven't received any other county that has requested a change or having, an issue so far with a location for another reason. So if I do, we'll bring that back in August. So
Motion to approve.
We've got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nice have it. So next we need to replace a Democratic member on the Trimble County Board of Elections due to a resignation. Can you take us through that?
The Democrat member resigned via letter to the county clerk. The list of 5 names was submitted to the board for approval, verified by our staff, and the recommended name for the board, the county board in Trimble County, is Angela Pacheco. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Chico, I don't know.
Pacheco.
Yeah.
But that is the name at the top of the list, and that is submitted for approval by the board.
Do we have a motion to approve Angela Pacheco as the new Trumbull County Democratic member.
Motion to approve.
Do
Second.
we have a second? Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have our finance report is, oh, there's Rachel. Rachel, can you take us through the finance report?
So this financial report will include individual expenditures between May and June, since we didn't get to have the meeting to address those. Nothing looks particularly out of the ordinary there, just finishing up the year. And one thing that I will draw to your attention is that in Fund 120C and in Funds 13HZ, you'll see movement of contractor expenses. Those are expenses for contractor services that we moved over to general fund because we have been in this initiative to preserve the longevity of our federal funds to be able to help the county clerks. And part of that is to support those expenses through general funding through the state. And we have been working on that project for 6 years since I've been here. And I think that we are starting to see some real successes with that. So there was a conservation of almost $500,000 there this year. If anybody has any questions about any of the expenses through the year-end report, I'll be happy to take them, and then I'll go through the budget changes for FY27. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So there's also included an FY27 just budget breakdown. It's the same thing that we gave you last year for FY26 of the different funds that we have here at SBE and the amount that has been appropriated to each. Everything is exactly the same with the exception of 2 fund sources. So if you look at 185B, which is the state share of county elections, that supports any statute payments for KRS 117.345 and previously held any expenses for counties for House Bill 53. So last year in FY26, a special appropriation for $1.2 million was added to that fund. So if you have or looked at last year's budget appropriations, you'll see that it was higher. This year, they did not make a special appropriation for those expenses. They did include a smaller amount in our baseline budget that we are putting there to still accommodate those expenses for the hand-to-eye recounts. But the remaining was put into our operating expenses in 185A in reserve. So the smaller amount, I think instead of $1.2 million, it was just over $800,000. And 500,000 of that was put in 185B because those are statutorily related. And then the other 300,000 was put in reserve in operating expenses under 185A for general funded support in section 3. The only other change as far as the FY27 budget is if you'll notice under 185E election fund, the restricted fund total is less than FY26. And that is simply because as we expend that cash, there is no more cash to spend. So they have lowered our restricted fund appropriation in that section. If we have a surplus of cash after moving expenses and we do need to use that, we can request additional spending authority in the short session that is coming up in January. So we have some flexibility with that. I don't anticipate that we will need it, but in the emergency case that we do have the ability to request more spending authority. And that's pretty much FY27 in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions about this budget going forward. If nobody has any questions, that's all I've got for you all today.
If I may add, it's been a real plus for State Board of Elections for Rachel to do such a good job of managing our expenses and reducing the use of federal funds, because as we all know, those have reduced tremendously since in the last 5 years. So saving that $500,000 this year of federal funds really made a big difference for our for us in this last time. So I just want to thank her for all that hard work and watching for us.
Thank you. Any questions for Rachel? If not, do we have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thanks very much. Thank you, Rachel. Who wants this, Taylor or Richard?
I drew the short straw.
Oh.
Morning, everybody. This next item is the report of the examiners of electronic voting systems. So specifically what that is about 3 weeks ago, the gentleman from Hart, Bobby Gantley and Jay Conley, and Miss Elizabeth Spring from Hart. Remember, Hart is the equipment manufacturer spelled by Hart in Kentucky.
It took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah, it's so they brought their latest and greatest voting system here for approval, and I believe that they said if we're not one of the if we're not the first state to certify this is the Hart Verity Vanguard 2.8 system. If we're not the first to certify it in the country, we're among the first. So this is the latest and greatest, like I said, from Hart. It's a new software for new machines. We don't have anybody currently with those machines, obviously, but there's been some talk amongst some of the counties about new machines if they could. So Hart wanted to get this new version certified with us. So statute, lays out who's on the examination board. And so one, you got to have an expert in computer science. So we had Alan Hess from the office. Y'all know Alan, he's been here for quite a while. He's very familiar with all this stuff. It says you have to have a present county clerk. So we got Sandy Jones from Woodford County. And then it says you have to have a person knowledgeable in election procedures and law. And so we got the Montgomery County clerk and former past president of the KCCA, Kentucky County Clerks Association, Chris Cockrell, to serve in that role. And we thought it was important. Also, those two clerks are current Hart customers, so they're very familiar with the existing product, would be familiar with any changes that they might see. So that was our board. Like I said, we had Miss Elizabeth Spring from all the way from Texas to represent Hart. Bobby Gantley, the president of Harp Enterprises, and Jay Conley, the operations manager, to represent the local side. And then Karen, Richard, and myself were there as well. And the statute lays out a 28-point checklist, if you will, to go through with certifying any new equipment or any equipment that wants to be certified. So put it through its paces, and then even more, like I said, the clerks are very familiar with this product, so they were peppering them with questions. Richard was peppering them with questions. I think Karen and I were as well. And they were able to not only explain everything, they were able to demonstrate everything. We paid specific attention to write-in votes and any stray marks on ballots, that kind of stuff. And everything performed exactly as it should, as we expected it to. And the examination board, they gave you the report that's in your packet. They all signed off on it. And now we're bringing it to you all for ratification from the board. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have about it.
So our action item is.
Taylor,
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
me, what does this, I've served on that board before, and it's very interesting. I always appreciate computer person, but what does this new version do that the old one doesn't do?
So
I was mentioning the scanner.
So there's a new scanner component. Remember, so for Kentucky, we've got all hand-marked paper ballots that are
Right.
auditable and all that. So there's a new scanner product. One of the big focuses in the state and nationally is no barcode technology, no QR codes, none of that stuff. And that's where I was getting at the hand marking and marking the selections and all that stuff with and write-in votes and all that stuff. So it's more, it's not a complete overhaul of the system, I would say. It's more a fine tuning of what they already have.
Oh, okay.
But any fine tuning like that has to come back to the
Right.
State Board of Elections
Right.
for certification.
And there's if you would know this, Carol, that there's de minimis changes, which is even finer tuning, I guess. So this was not quite that. It's a step above that. So every time they give it, it's
Yeah.
the 2.8, right? So 2.7, 2.8. When they do a step up like that, we have them bring it in to certify.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our role is to vote to accept the report, correct? Just that simple?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, do we have a motion to accept the report?
So move.
Second.
Moved in second. Do we have any other questions?
I just was wondering, do we know if this new version will be implemented in any county soon, or have we heard?
For November, no, I don't think it's going to happen for the general in November. 27, 28, possibly. But I don't think there's the time, maybe not necessarily the money either right now for this to go out for the general in November.
And there's like a 28-point checklist that.
Yeah,
Totally
it's pretty extensive, and it not only do we have the 28-point checklist under Kentucky law, but it brings in some of the certification procedures that the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, has laid out as well. So not only does it have to meet what we want in Kentucky, it's got to meet some federal standards, and it does.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Taylor, while you have the floor, do you want to go to the next item?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Secretary. The next item, if you all will recall, the legislature passed something similar to what we did when we took all the lifetime death records and analyzed those from the cabinet for Health and Human Services. We took those records, compared them against our voter list to see if there was anybody that had not been reported that we needed to remove from our voter rolls. So similar to that, the legislature passed a law that said, let's do that with what the legislature termed the all-time felon list. So this is the MOU with the Administrative Office of the Courts to capture a life, as far back as their records will go, of who has a felony conviction. We're going to run that against our voter list to see if anybody should be removed that, again, maybe didn't get picked up from a felony back in, 70s, 80s, 90s, whenever. And then also the other change to the law, if you'll remember, was that under the old standard, a person got to exhaust all their appeals before we remove them for a felony conviction. The legislature changed that, and once you're convicted at the trial level now, you're removed. The appeals for a felony conviction don't matter anymore. It's the first conviction leads to removal from Kentucky's voter rolls. So we have, with AOC, we have a very similar MOU that outlines our agreement to share just the regular felon data that we get from them. This is a MOU to do that all-time look back to include anyone whose case might be on appeal. So that's what we have here.
Any questions?
Oh, so what happens if they win their appeal?
They could, we have the ability in the VRS to restore their registration if they wanted to restore the registration, or they could register.
It can be restored without their initiating a new registration.
Well, if AOC, that's something that's not in this agreement, that AOC would transmit to us successful appeals. But that's a discussion we can have with them to maybe get another MOU that they would transfer successful appeals, and we could automatically do it. But right now, if someone were to win appeal today, tomorrow, the process would be for them to re-register.
It would be their responsibility to.
Right.
Thank you.
Do they have something at the AOC? When I know when I was clerk, I had at least 2 people that got their rights restored because their crime had been when they were very, very young. Is there something in the records that shows that they got their rights restored?
So that again is on the individual to know whether their rights have been restored or not. Currently, we're under the governor's executive order that restored voting rights for certain classes of felony convictions. And the way that works is that it's on the individual to know their status. And if they do have that rights restoration, then they again go and register.
Oh, okay.
So the governor has set up a website called Civil Rights Restoration. He did that back when he did the executive order. And anyone that calls our office to ask the question, I've had my appeal, or I believe my voting rights can be restored, we refer them to that website where they can put their information in and print out a document that tells them, yes, you qualify, or no, you need to complete this application and go through an approval process. So
Yeah.
That's actually, Sue Carroll, that's actually run through the DOC as opposed to the AOC. So the Department of Corrections is the one that signs off on the rights restoration.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the MOU?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, thanks very much. Next, we have a report from Karen Summers.
my report is pretty brief. We are at the end of July, so we're not really geared up yet for the election, which is 98 days away. It'll be here before we know it.
Who's counting, right?
Right, who's counting? But I would like to, the one thing that has been accomplished since our last meeting, and I'll mention is the phase 2 of our digital mapping process that we've been working through for the last 2 years since reapportionment. I'm going to refer that to Richard. This is probably one of the most important things that the state board has done. Richard was the lead on that, and he just really took that and just ran with it to ensure that we had accurate precinct digital mapping across the state. And Richard, I'll let you take a lap of victory on that.
It's a victory for everybody. For the first time, as we've talked about before, the state as a whole, all county clerks in 120 counties, the LRC, our agency, any agency, and now the public can view one mapping system that tells them where their precincts are. It also has other layers in there that are built from the state database, and one, I guess, authoritarian map that shows everything in one place, which can eliminate a lot of problems and a lot of it may create some problems, but it eliminates a lot of I guess, for the lack of better words, the confusion that could cause from all of that mapping systems. We it actually does a lot more than that now too, because we're all using the same maps. We're tied in with other agencies like 911. So when one of our clerks notices that a 911 point is not on a house, now they can push that through to Meg, and Meg has a connection that they can get those, I think you call them PSAPs, to update the 911. So that works for this. So it's kind of a system that's gone, and it's growing faster and expanding into a lot of different areas to help people from across the state and different groups. But specifically for us, it's made the clerks be able to have a map that everyone can look at and the public can look at for precinct purposes. And Meg is now building in school boards, districts to update that. Cities are already out there, and the cities are hinged on the cooperation with the Secretary of State's office and the statewide geocoding systems, so that everything can be as accurate as possible. And that's what this has all been about, is getting accuracy, getting somebody to be able to look at one map and put people in the right precincts. And then the big goal is, and will be accomplished now, that LRC will coordinate with Meg and the GIS, the state board, next time they do reapportionment and redistricting, so that the lines, there's no confusion again, because there was confusion after the fact, but it was because nobody had a mapping system that everybody could look at. And this is the first time that this has occurred, and now we're in a good shape. And it's been great to work with Meg, with all the state agencies, and to build this out, and it's going to be a positive for everybody going forward.
Thank you very much.
I think this just adds to the integrity and public trust that we all strive for, where people are placed in the right precinct when they go to vote.
Yeah. I will add one other thing. Thank you to Karen and to Rachel for finding the funds to support this, because there's never been any funding mechanism for this. So that was a big step to be able to do that.
And we have some dates that'll come up I'll just take over and thank you, Richard, for, some of the important dates coming up, and I'll probably wait and go over those in August, because there's really not anything as much happening in August in terms of dates for voters. But I do want to say, this is Richard's last meeting. And it's been very hard to think about losing him, but he's been in elections for 30 and a half years. And think of all the integrity and trust he's brought and his work here. So.
I do still have dark hair, Richard, after 30 and a half years in election. Look at Taylor.
Well, and I want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to do this and to finish my election career at the state. And it's been an honor. It's been an honor to work with the clerks. It's been an honor to work with the Secretary of State's office, all the other state agencies, and it's been a real honor to work with my team at the state board and all the staff. They're just top notch. They do more with less every day, and it's just been an honor. It's just been an honor. I appreciate everything that you all have done. I appreciate the board for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Well,
We
I'm sorry, Mark.
appreciate you, Richard. My apologies, Secretary.
Not at all. Sorry you can't be with us today in person. We love on you here, but don't be a stranger.
I'll get to actually, maybe I'll get to sleep on election night before election. I don't know. Maybe that'll be it. It's been 30 years. So.
He accidentally shared his personal cell phone number a while back.
I did.
You're still on speed dial. No, thank you. You've been a pleasure and very professional to work with, and I appreciate the many times you answered, and you always came through, and best wishes moving forward. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you as well, Richard. You and I met in a different capacity before I was on the board and you were in this role. And I think everybody knows this, but it's worth saying you're a man of integrity and you do the right thing. And want to thank you for your hard work. You've made us all a better board and a better agency, and wish you every luck and success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Richard, our days go back to you working in the Davis County Clerk's office with, I'm trying to remember how far back all of the clerks that I know, but it has been a pleasure working with you over these years, and just very proud of your accomplishments.
Thank you, Sue Carol.
And enjoy your retirement.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. We go way back too. You were one of the first people to kind of pull me aside. I'd never really worked around elections and wasn't sure what elections people were like, and you were just wasn't sure what I was getting into. And as it's been said, most of them, all of them, just tend to be kind of good government people that are just trying to do the right thing. And that certainly describes you. And you were just so friendly and welcoming to me, and just always look forward to seeing you. Always had a smile on your face, always trying to be helpful, and just made me feel good to be part of this team and get to work with people like you. And thank you for all your years of dedication to such a worthy cause, and honoring us all.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you helped, even this lawyer understand the process a little better. So I really appreciate all the time you've given me, and echo the comments from everyone else. And I can see from the faces of staff there, it's not an easy change. Yeah, we'll miss you.
Thank you all.
You're going to be a tough act to follow, Richard. You've just been extraordinary in every way. Again, I don't think you'll be a stranger. Thanks for your service.
That concludes my report.
All right. Do we have Danetta with us? I don't see her.
She didn't.
Okay. So we do have other business, but first we need to have a closed session. We have some pending litigation that we need to discuss, and also personnel matter. Can I please get a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any